Hey everyone, Stefanie Morris here. Sorry for the delay in the episode, but it's coming right now. My episode with Subnautica Below Zero and Subnautica 2 composer Ben Prunty. Be sure to check out his original music as well as the Below Zero score on Bandcamp. Also, I'm still working on the Jurassic Park 3 anniversary and Samuel tribute Q&A from the live anniversary screenings I did a few weeks ago. Still working on that episode. Also, speaking of ocean stuff, it's Shark Week, and I had a really fun episode with Carly Jackson, a shark scientist and one of the co-founders of Minorities in Shark Sciences. Wait, I'm going to... There we go. That was Wendy. Also, the latest Michael Crichton Book Club is on his novel Sphere, which is set in the ocean. Check out that episode with Samantha Indris and I. And next week is my episode with marine biologist Brooke Fitzwater, aka Ocean Philly, where we also talk about Subnautica. If you're listening to this when this episode comes out, August 8th, I will be at Midsummer Scream in Long Beach, drinking the Kool-Aid and I. We're going to be doing a little fun after-party hang at the Stave. So check out the socials for that flyer and everything. But yeah, I'm super excited for Midsummer Scream. It's one of my favorite conventions. Come say hi. I'll be there at least Saturday and Sunday. And yeah, before we get into this episode with Ben Prunty, I have a very exciting pre-announcement. Anyway, I'm doing another really cool science series that I'm going to announce soon. It's not the Back to School series, although I am doing that this year as well. But there'll be something in between to satiate all your science-y needs. So anyway, let's get into my episode with Subnautica Below Zero and Subnautica 2 composer Ben Prunty. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Filled with awe and fright, see Jurassic Right, bathed in amber light, see Jurassic Right, see Jurassic Right, 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 see Jurassic Right, 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 see Jurassic Right, 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 see Jurassic Right, see Jurassic Right, see Jurassic Park.
This is very exciting. And I always start off the show saying that because every show is exciting. But this episode is especially exciting. And you're listening to See Jurassic Right. And I'm Stephen Ray Morris. And there's a video game that I would say maybe is my newest fandom. I think growing up loving Jurassic Park, Lord of the Rings, Selena, Carly Rae Jepsen. You know, we're going into all different kinds of stuff. But Subnautica is just, it was one of those things that like took me by the horns. It just like grabbed me and changed my life. And I'm very excited to have the composer of Subnautica Below Zero and of course, Subnautica 2. It's Ben Prunty.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining me. I feel like I was just always pinging you every once in a while, being like, the Subnautica Below Zero is the greatest score of all time. And it really is. I was just re-listening to it. I mean, I was telling you, it's a big airplane listen. Like when I'm on a plane, it really takes you to a place.
That's cool. Yeah, that's a great way to listen to it, I think.
But yeah, I wanted to start off, I think, just seeing the reaction of Subnautica 2, which has been in early access for about a month now or something like that.
Yeah.
Everyone's been responding to the Titan class biosignature track because, you know, a big component of Subnautica and, you know, the subsequent games is these Leviathans. And yeah, how did that track like come about? Because it truly I've watched so many people's reactions and just like puts the fear of God in everybody.
Yeah, it's been really fun to see so much, because the game, like, you know, sold in the millions of copies within like a day.
Yeah.
And so even just like in my feed, my like social media feed, I was getting videos of people playing the game and then like commenting on the music. And that was just organically coming to me. And it's a kind of like instant feedback that I've never had before as a game developer, you know.
Interesting.
To have this like the game be so saturated on social media. Yeah, so the Leviathan music, one, I want to start with like, it's kind of broken right now. Like it doesn't quite work. You probably notice that like sometimes it plays, but you don't even know where the Leviathan is.
Sure. Yeah. No, it's Well, I was just going to say that's part of almost like you're like, it's almost like The Shining, where you're like, why is scary music playing right now?
Yeah,
Nothing's happening, but then it just kind of puts you on edge a little bit.
Yeah, and I did remember one of the videos I saw was like somebody saying, "Why is the boss music playing?" And yeah, so that's kind of broken because like when you're a game developer, you want the player and the game to agree on what's happening. And with like linear games, like story heavy games, that's way easier because there's like only one path the player can go on, so you know when they're going to enter that area and when they're going to exit. But with an open world game, it's really complicated, and they may be in the section where the Leviathan is, but they may be in like a safe little trench or something and have no idea the Leviathan's nearby. And so if the music starts up, it might be a little distracting. So it started with a meeting where some of the creature team was talking to me about like the different states that the Leviathan would have. And he's got like an idle state and like a spotting the player state and like a searching state and an attacking state. And so we had like, they're like, those are the states, you know, it can move in and out of any of those. So we got to make something for that. And I made something really basic just to test the system at first. It was pretty much just like drums. And then nobody really liked it. So then I went back and redid it. And it's pretty much what it is now. But that isn't even the final version of it. Ooh. So I want to do like... It's probably not much of a spoiler to say that Leviathan is not the only Leviathan that will be in the game.
Sure, yeah.
And so I want to have like each Leviathan have its own custom music. And so, yeah, and I don't even know if that what is currently in there is going to remain that way.
Oh,
so,
interesting.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't really know. It's still so early. Like I know it's like a game that just came out, but it's also like we got a couple of years probably of development ahead. Wow. So it's still very early too, in some senses.
No, that's what I was just saying to you before we jumped on. And Subnautica 1, I basically had just been watching the first game for a couple of years and then saw Below Zero starting to develop. And because I like stopped playing video games for a while, it was just sort of like, wow, I love the ocean. This is cool. And then when it was announced for the Switch, I was just like, oh, I finally get to play. And then, you know, putting in hundreds of hours into those first two games. So I think for me, it was just like a no brainer. Like I never thought I would be an Xbox person, and I got the ROG Ally, not sponsored, just for this. And it's been so cool to, I don't know what, like, I guess I'm just jumping ahead to this part, but that's got to be a surreal experience to put out something that is in early access. And for non-gamers, early access is like, you're basically presenting Unknown Worlds is presenting a version of the game that is not finished, but is at least I think from the reactions and most people's reactions so far is like, wow, this is so far along further than maybe like what people thought or something. But yeah, what is it like to put something out being like, here's like part of it?
Yeah. Well, we did it for Below Zero too.
Yeah.
And I've worked on, I guess Below Zero is the only other early access game. I guess Generation Exile is another game I worked on that was early access. But yeah, it's cool to get feedback immediately before it's done. You know, like that's like the best part is that you get reactions from players and you can see like trends. Like if a lot of players are agreeing on something that they don't like or whatever, you can be like, well, okay, maybe I can go back and alter this or something. That's really cool. To be able to like, it helps you refine what you're doing. Otherwise, you know, it's just you and the other developers and testers. And that's not a big group of people, you know? Mm-hmm. So it is having that early access where you have, in this case, literally millions of people playing, which that's a little bit scary, but it's also very useful.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Well, let's go back to the beginning. How did you start composing for video games? Is that, I mean, to me, it just seems like you're saying, at least with, you know, Subnautica, you're composing for a non-linear experience. Like, how does that even go about? Like, how do you even get into composing for video games?
So I always knew I wanted to work in games since I was like a teenager. This was probably since I was about like 16. And I was an awful student. I taught myself programming, and I did a lot of game design. I designed card games. In fact, my very first card game was a Jurassic Park themed like single player card game that I made when I was like 11. It wasn't good, but I put a ton of work into it. And so I was like, as a teenager, I was like doing game design. I was drawing a lot. I was making music, and I taught myself programming. And I was like making games on old computers and like a modern computer, modern for like 1995.
Sure,
but and I really wanted to get into games. And like at that in the 90s, it was like, well, if you want to get in games, you got to be a programmer. That was what the general advice was from people. And I was a programmer. I was teaching myself, but it wasn't really recognized in school at the time. There were no programming classes or anything. And I was an awful student. I was just terrible. I just never did my homework. I didn't pay attention. I had ADHD. I wasn't diagnosed.
Yeah.
So it looked like I couldn't get like scholarships, and we couldn't afford like a fancy college. I really wanted to there were 2 colleges that had game design or game development degrees back then, which was DigiPen and Full Sail, but they were both rich kid schools. There was no way we could afford them, like my family. So I ended up going to like a little 2-year program in Maine, because I grew up in Maine.
Okay.
For audio engineering, because I was like, well, maybe I can do sound effects for games. I don't know. And that was like recording local bands, basically, like learning to record music. Mm-hmm. And the expectation was you'd go into like local news or local radio or something back then. None of them had any idea like what the hell game development was or anything. So after I graduated, there was definitely no placement or anything. It was just a 2-year program. So I moved to California, and I worked a bunch of different jobs for like a decade, like 10 years, while teaching myself to make music and trying to attach myself to like any random like indie project, like indie game project or like student project I could find. And I made no money at it, and I was broke forever until one of the games happened to be a huge hit, and that was FTL.
Okay.
In 2012. And by then I was 29. So it was a very long, concerted effort to get to where I am. A very deliberate choice to do music for games.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. And it feels like, at least from the outside perspective, that like video games started where it was these like very tiny teams where everyone had to do everything. But at the same time, it seems like with indie gaming companies, it's still almost a similar mentality where you do kind of have to have a lot of hats.
Yeah, yeah.
What were some of your favorite video games growing up?
A game that had a huge influence on me was Earthbound. I don't know if you've heard of Earthbound.
Yes, yeah, with Ness.
Nice.
Yeah.
Most people know it from Smash Brothers, but I got Earthbound when it came out, and I was, I don't know, 12 or something. And it was like, it has such cool music. I don't know if you've played it, but the music is insane. There's like 100 something different pieces of music in that one game. And it's nuts. And it was like a huge influence on me. It kind of got me thinking about game development and like working in games. And so that was a huge one. I played a lot of Final Fantasy back then. Daggerfall. I don't know if you've heard of Daggerfall, but it's like, if you know Skyrim. I'm sure you've heard of Skyrim. Yeah. Well, if you go back 4 games before Skyrim in the Elder Scrolls series, you get to Daggerfall, which no one's played, but it was another huge game for me. And yeah, I was just obsessed with games when I was a kid, and I would like track down every game I could play. So I played like everything back then, and I kind of still do.
Really? Yeah, I was going to ask, because to me, or I guess my question is, yeah, to you, what is special about video game music? And I feel like now you had such a more mainstream sort of, acceptance or whatever. But is there something about video game music that say a movie or TV score can't do?
I'm not really sure. For me, it's just like, it's the first music that I really connected to when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And games are what I am passionate about. So that's why I'm in it. I don't know if there's anything like inherently better about game music over other versions of music or anything, but it's what I am obsessed with. So That's why I'm here.
What to you makes a theme like watery or like icy? Like, because it's one of the, I feel like I go on so many rabbit holes of, analyzing the water temple music from Legend of Zelda or, Dire Dire Docks or Aquatic Ambience. There's just something.
Yeah, I love that one.
There's just something that I feel like water music in video games, especially in the last 10 years, like nostalgia for that 16 and Nintendo 64, PlayStation era of music, like whatever that water sound is, like where everyone is obsessed with it. Like how do you even go about replicating that or trying to do your own spin on it?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of what we love about water music in older games is really just new age music. And I think new age music has a kind of appeal to it that people don't really want to admit, because new age we have this kind of like, there's a bit of like a cringe factor that a lot of people put onto new age music, but like, it's also very listenable, and like Enya is great.
Yes.
Like excellent music. And so I think it's like a safe way for people to enjoy new age music where they don't have to admit that they like new age music.
I love that.
But apart from that, for Subnautica, like, I would say like some of the parts of making it sound watery is like, if you play the original Subnautica, all the sound effects are accompanied by this like long tail of reverb. Yeah. Like, and you notice it when there's no music playing and you like break like a resource node or something, and you can hear this like kind of like reverb as if it's in a big cave, which it kind of is, except that it doesn't make any sense. There wouldn't be that kind of, your ears are covered by water, and but it feels right when you hear it. And so like I think that's similar with music. There's a huge wash of reverb over most of the stuff in my Subnautica music, and it's like this shimmery kind of reverb that adds harmonics to everything. And that, I think, somehow, I'm not really sure why, it makes it sound very watery and underwater. And I don't know, it's like bells and hammered instruments tend to evoke water really well. I think it's just like a cultural thing, and we don't always, it's hard to like track down the original sources sometimes, but
no, that's so interesting. I think it is, but it's just one of those things that's now so ingrained where, when I'm snorkeling, I'm just hearing, you know what I mean? I'm hearing Dire Dire Docks, or I'm hearing the Below Zero soundtrack. Like it's just now sort of, I mean, I've especially immersed myself in it, but I think it's just interesting. You're right that it is hard to describe, but yet, when you hear the Sonic the Hedgehog, when he's in the water level, it's like you get what's going on.
Yeah.
Or whatever the name of the Mario track is, the like when he's whenever.
And it's like the waltz that plays. Yeah.
How did you go about, or so you started work on Below Zero? Like, what is that again? Like, to me, because are you being shown, like, are you allowed to play the game before you're composing for it? Like, how does that work? How does that whole process work? When you started Below Zero and then obviously into Subnautica 2?
When I joined Below Zero, it had already been like a year in development. So they could just send me a build to play. So I played it. I mean, that was like the first thing I did. I went to back when they had an office in San Francisco, they brought me over to their office, and then like I got to play the build that they had at that time. So usually I usually join a project like 6 months to a year after it started. So there's always something that I can try out or look at.
Sure.
And if not that, then like art, any of the key art or concept art, I can look at that. Being able to play a build is best though, because it's always important to know like how long stuff takes. Like, how fast does the person swim? How fast does a player swim? Or like how long does it take to gather resources? Because it kind of informs like what rhythms, what like tempo you do,
Sure.
and like how long you make in each track, that kind of thing. So yeah, being able to play it is like the best possible way to start writing for it.
That's cool. As far as the Below Zero soundtrack, did they have any, did Unknown Worlds have any directives about you coming aboard in relation to the first one, or did they just let you go on your own?
They mostly let me go on my own. So when I came on board, what they told me was, you can use the original as a starting off point, but don't feel like you have to like be beholden to the original or like mimic the original in any way. So that was like, use the first game as inspiration, but then do whatever you want. Nice. And so I had an enormous amount of creative control over the soundtrack, and almost no oversight. So I just made cool music and sent it to them, and that's became the soundtrack, which was very fun. It was a little hard because I didn't have a ton of direction, and it was like, back then it was a relatively small team. It was like 30 people.
Yeah.
And now it's like 100 people working on Subnautica 2. So it's a much bigger team. And they were just not as tightly organized as they are now. So sometimes it was a little difficult to like figure out what was needed.
Sure.
But everyone was like super helpful when I needed it and came to them. And so I was given a ton of creative control. There were only a few times when I had to like rewrite something or change it. Nice. So I got to be sort of like music director also in that sense, like just sort of like I get to decide what the game sounds like, which is very cool. And I mostly have that now with Subnautica 2.
Oh, that's so even like as far as in relation to the sound effects and everything like that, is that also something like a composer, like, do you keep that in mind? Or is it kind of like, somebody who's mixing this stuff is kind of putting together later?
Yeah, I don't really get involved with the sound effects. That's the team at Power Up Audio. They're great. I work with them on a lot of projects, and I pretty much just like hand music to them, and they put it in and make sure that it plays in the correct spots and everything. And they make it very easy for me. I don't have to worry about much. I can just focus entirely on the music, which is what I want.
Nice. And yeah, what is your process like? Because I guess all of this is right. All the entire score is like digital. Is it just you have like a DAW and all that kind of stuff? Like, how's that process from like starting a track to finishing it?
So yeah, everything's done mostly in software. I have a PC here that I built myself, and it has Cubase. I do everything in Cubase, which is like, it's like Ableton, but for old people.
I love that.
Yeah, I do everything with like software instruments, a lot of synths. I use a synthesizer called Omnisphere that I do like probably like 70% of my work is done just in Omnisphere. I can like build any kind of like sound I want from scratch with Omnisphere, and it's great.
Cool.
And sometimes for other games I've like Into the Breach, I played guitar for Into the Breach, and with Below Zero I have a water phone, which I don't know if you know what that is.
No, I don't know what that is.
I can't really show it to you right now. It's packed away, but it's like a very strange instrument, like that you literally put water in it, and it has like metal tines that stick up, and you use a bow, like a violin bow, and you like play these metal tines, and it makes this weird kind of otherworldly sound. It's very cool. And I used it for Below Zero for some of it. I never really liked how it came out, but it was still fun to use. Anyway, Subnautica 2 almost entirely in software. There might have been a couple of hardware synths that I used, but most of it's just software. So I sit down here at this computer, and I just put headphones on, and I take videos of the game. Like, I'll play the game, and I record my playthrough basically. And then I take those videos, and I can play them while I'm composing. So I have like the video running, and I'll be like trying to come up with different things while I'm like have the video of me playing.
Oh, that's so cool. You're just getting eaten by the Collector Leviathan over and over again, or the worms, the ice worms in Below Zero, or getting your stuff stolen by the sea monkeys in Below Zero. Those cute guys.
Oh yeah, man, I forgot about that. It's been a while since I've touched the game, but I forgot that things steal your stuff.
Yeah, and then at some point when you get Alan inside you, then it's like, okay, now they help you.
Yep.
So I obviously asked about water and ice stuff, but thinking about Subnautica 2, I mean, it's such a different. I guess I don't know what I expected from the game because I tried to like almost avoid sort of spoilers or just looking to it for I really wanted to have that like when you first get in the game and the thing opens and you see the world tree and all that stuff. Like, how did you approach like what sounds alien? Like, how do you make something sound alien?
So generally, I'm not really deliberately trying to sound alien.
Sure.
Mostly it's like, because like the ocean in the game very much resembles like coral reefs on Earth, right?
Yeah.
Just in exaggerated forms. And like being underwater on Earth is like a similar experience to this game in a lot of ways. And like the Axum are a civilized race that faced like a climate crisis. And those are very like human things. Like the best sci-fi is about us, really. It's always a story about humans. And so I don't necessarily approach it thinking of them as being fully alien because it's really like a story about humans.
Yeah.
And so like that's sort of how I approach the music. Like for the Axum, I use like a choir to like, I don't know if you got to the power station part where you turn on the power station and there's like, so I wrote that for that scene. And like I was told like this scene is very like it's the climactic moment of early access. And so it's a big deal. The players spend a lot of time working on it and like and it's like a big moment because this machine that you thought was like ancient and not working is actually like you're turning it on, the lights come on and the turbine spins and everything. It's supposed to be a big moment. So like I had already decided that the Axum were going to be like represented by a choir. So that scene is like big moment with like this very large, loud kind of choir sound. A little bit of that is inspired by the movie Hook. I don't know if you're familiar with Hook.
I haven't rewatched it since I was a kid.
Oh man, it's so fun. It's not a great movie, but it is a really fun movie, and it has an amazing soundtrack. And there's a moment in that movie where Robin Williams, because he's grown up and he's forgotten that he's Peter Pan, and he's brought back to Neverland, and he can't remember. And there's a sort of a moment that's like the turning point in the entire story where he finally remembers being Peter Pan, and he remembers his happy thought, and he can fly and everything, and he like flies around a bit, and then he returns to the Lost Boys, and Rufio, Dante Bosco, gives up his sword in respect to Peter. And then like Peter takes it and he like holds it aloft and all the Lost Boys surround him and they all cheer and everything. The music for that scene is so over the top. If you listen to it, you can go listen to it on like Spotify or something. I think it's called You Are the Pan. If you listen to it outside of the movie, it is so clearly a song about witnessing God for the first time. It's that over the top.
Yeah.
Like listen to it and tell me I'm wrong. Listen to it later after the show and tell me I'm wrong. Like you'll hear it and you'll be like, oh my God, this is about witnessing God for the first time. And they use it for like a fucking Peter Pan movie.
Yeah.
But it works. And so like that was part of the inspiration. Like it's really over the top what I put in for that one scene.
Yeah.
And there's nothing really alien about it. It's it's a story about you, and it's a story about the Axum, and both of which are very human.
Yeah.
But that said, synthesizers are great because they don't evoke specific cultural instruments or anything. So that's good for alien stuff.
Well, no, I mean, it's just, no, you're totally right. I mean, that's when playing this game, I was just really struck by how much of it is like a ghost story, in that way. And
Yeah.
were you, like, as you're playing the game and are they giving you builds that are like, here's this biome, or are they like, here's this next story beat? Because I feel like so far in early access, like the story is so rich already. Like it's haunting with these, the reprinting and the different groups infighting and the maze field and all that stuff. Like,
yeah, it's very grim.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, and I'm sometimes I feel a little bit like once I got more familiar with the story, I was a little bit like, maybe my music's not grim enough to match the tone of these logs, like the audio logs and everything. But I'm working on that. Yeah, well, so when I get a build, it's basically like similar to what you get in early access. It's just the whole game.
Oh, cool.
So it's just like, so I have to know like how to get to things, and like we had a whole bunch of like basically like cheat codes that we can use to get to different areas, and like turn off oxygen so that we can stay in one spot for a while and look at things, that kind of thing.
Yeah, was that kind of stuff informing how you were, like, was that changing the process for you as you got new builds, where you're like, oh, wait a minute, maybe I should do that differently, or that kind of thing?
Yeah, and it's starting to affect me for sure. Like, I didn't get a lot of the story stuff until a lot later.
Yeah.
Because it just wasn't in place. It was just like in a big spreadsheet. and so like I didn't actually like get all of it until later, until I was able to play through it myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's starting to like inform how I do the music. And I'm trying to, I've got some pretty cool stuff. Like I already have a lot of stuff that's like finished but not in the build yet, that'll be for the next update. But yeah, it's really fun. And so it is kind of informing it, but a little late.
Sure. What kind of player are you? Do you enjoy the base building aspect? Are you more of an explorer? Or are you just approaching it as just, I'm here to think about it from a music perspective?
Well, I was definitely like a Subnautica fan before I joined the team.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, I played a lot of the original. And I tend to be explorer, I guess. Yeah. I make bases, but they're pretty utilitarian. They don't look amazing. I just like building lots of bases around and then like exploring out. That's really fun.
Yeah. No, that's how I am too, where like I'll make like almost like you're saying a very practical, here's a base with enough power so that I can, make stuff, and here's some storage lockers. Like, let's go.
Yeah. But yeah, it's really fun to like find a cool place and make it into like a home base. And as so like I like making multiple bases as I go out further and further from the beginning of the game and like into the weirder, more scary areas, and like building a small base there, and that feels really good. It's like a very satisfying part of the game for me.
Yeah. No, I just recently built a base in the alien ruins so that I'm like, so I can like look at the Collector Leviathan, and I can go
like
out.
A viewing platform.
Yeah, no, essentially.
Nice.
Yeah. Is there anything so far in Subnautica 2 as far as like a track that you're like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing I've ever done, or something that you maybe, listeners who are playing the game, like, pay attention to this part of the game, like a certain track or anything again that you're really stoked about how it came out?
That power station track was one that I didn't really think much of. I thought I did a good job and I was happy with it, but seeing how much players are reacting to that, it seems like it really like hit well, and that I'm very pleased with that like players are very excited about it. It really hit like they react to it exactly the way that I was hoping.
Mhm.
The over the top choir worked. That's really nice. I'm really happy with how many recurring themes I have in the game. Like there's currently 6 different themes right now that show up multiple times throughout the soundtrack. And that I'm really happy with. And it shows up a lot, and I'm gonna keep working to like have the different themes show up in different places. And I'm going to do like either an essay or a video sort of explaining the different themes and what they mean, which will be really fun to do. Yeah. So that part I'm really, because that Below Zero didn't have that as much.
Yeah.
I kind of struggled to come up with memorable themes. And the best ones I wrote were like right at the end of development. And so I took a lot of those out and then put them into Subnautica 2. And so now, yeah, I'm very happy with how it's come out.
No, that's awesome. I mean, yeah, it feels like there is such a, that's because again, that I asked you like a while ago, just like there are carryover from Below Zero into Subnautica 2. Like there's the same DNA there somewhere. And it was exciting to hear those because it felt like, you know, like in a movie sequel when you're like, oh, that's the Jurassic, you know, we get the Jurassic Park theme again finally. You know, like there's that kind of feeling.
Yeah, I wanted to have some of that familiarity for sure. And so like there's one track from Below Zero. It's the part where there's a biome where you're underneath the glacier. And there's all those like jellyfish everywhere.
Yeah.
And they have the eyeballs.
Yeah.
And that area, there's not much connection to the story there. And it's not dangerous. So you're just sort of vibing with the jellyfish. And so I wrote a track for that. This was very close to the end of development. And it was like, the track was just supposed to be like you're vibing with jellyfish. And it's supposed to be like the wonder of the natural world and like the sort of like underwater nature. And the melody for that turned out so well that I took that melody and that became the main theme sort of for Subnautica 2. And so you hear it in the title screen and you hear it all over. It's in like 7 or 8 different tracks in the game. And I'm really happy with that. That's become the main theme.
Yeah.
But I didn't find it, you know, until like 6 months before we finished Below Zero. So it didn't really become the main theme till later.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's fascinating. This is a silly question. Do you ever go snorkeling or do underwater stuff?
When I was a kid, I loved swimming, and I still love swimming. I just don't have all that many opportunities to do it. But I've never like scuba dived before or anything. I used to go snorkeling a lot when I was younger, but no, I've not done any kind of like real underwater exploration. It seems really cool, but also really dangerous, and I don't want to die.
Yeah, well, I feel like that's been the fun part about, you know, being in the Subnautica community over the last few years since I started playing the first game and then Below Zero and now this, is that it is this thing of like, ocean is terrifying, but also like Subnautica goes back and forth between being like the scariest thing of all time to then also being kind of cozy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think your music has a big part to do with that too, where we could be like in the safe shallows and we're like, all right, we're just vibing. And then it's like, oh no, we're going to get eaten.
I do love that the game gives me the opportunity to do kind of both of those. Like,
yeah.
It's really fun because I love horror and I watch a lot of horror movies and I love any kind of like creepy music or horror music. Years ago, I made like an album of just like horror music.
Oh, cool.
And it was really fun because I really wanted to work on a horror game and I still do, but this just hasn't really happened yet. I worked on a sort of a horror game a long time ago, but yeah. So Subnautica sort of gives me the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
And I love it. Just, it's so fun.
I mean, I feel like that's another big part of sci-fi too. I mean, Jurassic Park having this sort of, you know, horror elements, but then also, you know, the awe and wonder of the Brachiosaurus scene or the sick Triceratops. You mentioned, wait, you said you have a Spinosaurus tattoo? Is that?
I do. It's a little hard to see, but he's not done yet. So the head is not finished.
Oh, but, sick.
Yeah, he's got, there's the fin. I know it's like the sun right now is really beaten down, but
No,
you can kind of see like, yeah.
There we go. Did you grow up a dinosaur kid?
Yeah, Jurassic Park came out when I was 10.
Yeah.
And so I went to go see it like for my birthday when I turned 10 because it came out that month, I think. And I was traumatized seeing Gennaro get eaten by the Tyrannosaur.
Yeah.
But I still love dinosaurs. I thought it was awesome,
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like obsessed. And then that started me down like reading Michael Crichton. I know you're doing like a whole Michael Crichton like book club thing right now.
Yeah,
I heard. Yeah. And I got to, all the Crichton books I read like as a teenager.
Oh, that's
Sorry,
awesome.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I think we've announced it by now, but speaking of water, we're doing Sphere next.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And I've been reading it as like, I've been playing Subnautica 2, reading Sphere. I'm like fully underwater,
Yeah. And man, he does do a good job of like getting that underwater vibe and like the claustrophobia and everything in that book is like really good. Yeah. I tried to reread it a couple of years ago and like the sexism and misogyny in it was a little too much for me, and I just kind of put it down again. So I didn't finish it recently, but man, yeah, I was obsessed with it when I was like 14.
Yeah,
definitely read it a couple of times back then.
No, yeah, that one's been in that. This most recent reread and for the book club is mostly informed by my Subnautica experience, just because it's
nice.
It's very different, obviously, but the story is very different. But just again, just the notion of being, underwater, and I don't know, it's a little more terrifying and, like you said, claustrophobic than it is in Subnautica, where it can be freeing, when you're just at least somewhere safe.
Yeah.
You did I was going to say the score. You did the theme for the podcast Get Played, one of my favorite podcasts.
yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, well, how did that come about? I listen to Get Played every week. I've been a guest on the podcast before, specifically talking about water games.
Nice.
I'll link to that in the show notes. But
yeah, I didn't know about that. That's awesome. They literally just emailed me and said, "Can you make music for our podcast?" And I said yes.
Hell yeah,
that's it. But
I love that.
I didn't know anything. I don't actually listen to a lot of podcasts.
Sure.
When your job is listening to stuff 8 hours a day, there's not a lot of room in your life for listening to podcasts. So I hadn't heard of it, but I had seen Matt Apodaca on Dropouts Make Some Noise. He made like 2 appearances, I think. So he was great. He was so good. And I was like, oh, cool. I know this guy. Yeah, I'll do this music. So I had a piece that I had worked on in like 2008 or something, like really old.
Oh, wow.
Because they were like, oh, we want something that sounds like it's from an old Capcom game or like a JRPG or something. And I had this piece that I had made in like 2008 that was kind of that vibe. Like that was the idea. And I never used it, but I really loved it. And so I took that melody and I made a brand new thing for them. And that was sort of what I made for them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really fun to do. And yeah, so I've ended up making a couple more podcast things since then. And it's been a really fun little like side thing to do every now and then.
Yeah, because I always think the best podcast themes just give you what the vibe of the show is. It really sets you up. And I feel like when they changed formats and got you to do the theme, it was just like, and I think at that point, because Below Zero had already been out. So I was just like, what the heck? 2 of my worlds colliding.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Ben, thank you so much. This has been so much fun chatting and hearing about your process, for composing and for the Subnautica games and stuff. Do you have a favorite creature in the games you worked on, of the different sea creatures,
I really like those little crab guys in the coral gardens in Subnautica 2. They have like the eye stalks.
Yeah.
They're adorable. I love those guys.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite.
Nice. Well, where can people follow you, find you, get the soundtracks, listen to them, support your work, follow you on social media, all that good stuff? Oh,
sure, yeah. I'm on Blue Sky under my name, Ben Prunty at Blue Sky. You can get almost all of my music on Bandcamp, which is benprunty.bandcamp.com. Unfortunately, I do not have the rights to Subnautica 2, so you cannot get it on Bandcamp. But you can get it on Steam and I just finished making high quality MP3s and FLAC versions of the soundtrack because there's been a lot of demand for those. Nobody likes my original format, which was like a mid-quality MP3, which I thought sounds fine, but no one else did. So you can get very high quality versions of it soon. I'm not sure when it'll actually go up, but
Sure. Keep an eye on it.
But yeah, so that's Subnautica 2 right now. That's like the only place where you can download it is Steam. But all my other stuff, you can support me by buying it on Bandcamp.
Awesome.
It's like the best place.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Stephen Ray Morris on all the things. Patreon.com/See Jurassic Right. There's a few. I have another fun Subnautica episode planned. Maybe some more. I mean, look, the ocean is even more. I don't know. It's insane how we have more mapped out on like the moon or Mars than we do the ocean. It's such a mysterious place, and I have a healthy love and fear of the sea. So until then, sail safely, I guess.